Hello everyone, my name is Lamia Yasin. I'm a PhD student at the University of Padova from the Center of Human Rights, and I'm virtually here today to share my research with you on Palestinian youth movement in Israel. Specifically, I will explore whether these movements are creating a counter-hegemonic space within the Israeli society. So today's presentation will begin with a brief overview of the research context, followed by a look at the theoretical framework, methodology, and method used. I will then share some initial findings from my data analysis and conclude with insights and tensions that have emerged. This research focuses on Palestinian youth movement and organization, whether they are considered hierarchs, meaning youth-led protest movement or grassroots activism, or whether they are considered more structured and formalized group. Among these, I will pay particular attention to the role of non-formal educational activities and vision, especially in how they contribute to shape the notions of identity and citizenship. So this study adopts a counter-hegemonic stance, highlights the effort of this movement to resist and challenge dominant structure of power. In doing so, they create an alternative cycle of social reproduction. So this approach emphasizes the development of new values, ideas, and systems that confront existing hegemonies, shedding light on the dynamic of resistance and the potential for transformative change. In this context, non-formal education becomes especially significant, as it offers non-core national groups a space to renegotiate identity and citizenship outside the confines of formal educational system or in general outside the confines of mainstream discourses. So, this analysis seeks to highlight how the alternative educational space challenge dominant narrative, empower non-core national groups, and contribute to the construction of a more inclusive notion of citizenship and identity. So the core research questions are as follows. Does a counter-hegemonic discourse exist within Palestinians in Israeli society? How do non-formal educational entities create a platform for developing counter-hegemonic discourse that challenge the Israeli state framing of identity and citizenship? In the event of such discourse being established, what outcome can we expect? So, to explore these questions, I apply transformative methodology grounded in the principle of social justice and empowerment and equality. So this approach actively addresses power imbalances and social inequalities, ensuring that the communities under study, so that most of the time are considered marginalized group, are not passive subject, but active contributor to the knowledge of these research or of the research in general. I will do it by collecting data either via in-depth semi-structured interviews, so thematic analysis, or fieldwork observations. The secondary data are a comprehensive literature documents and report review. So the data analysis revealed several key themes, and I will share some of the most significant ones that have emerged from the. The first major theme is identity as a collective belonging. So here identity is not limited to ethnicity or religion. Instead, it is understood as a sense of belonging to a people who have been historically and still are today marginalized by the state. So this collective identity becomes a source of solidarity, care, and mutual support. One of the interview put it very powerfully, in my opinion, this image of collective belonging. And here is the quotation from the interview saying, We cannot live if we don't care about each other, all of us. These are Palestinians' values, Eastern values, Arabic values. Like Dakbe, our traditional dance, you cannot dance alone. You need to hold each other's hand. That means something. As in Palestinian dancing, it's never about one or two dancers, it's the group. I find this quotation very, very much powerful and closely connect to this sense of collective identity is the theme of safe spaces. So many participants emphasize the importance of youth movement and organization in creating safe space where they feel safe to express their vision, engage in dialogue, and confront challenging topics. As this participant quoted, we feel safe, we have the safety to say what we think. These are spaces that are in stark contrast with their everyday life, where fear of surveillance, misunderstanding, or repercussion often silence them. So outside the household, many describe feeling unable to speak freely to express their vision also for the future. So, in the majority of the interviews, the theme of identity and safe space emerged constantly. However, when asked about citizenship, a different pattern appeared. So, most participants expressed a clear understanding that despite holding an Israeli citizenship, they live in a society that discriminates against them, both directly and indirectly. As here is said, we deal with the citizenship as a tool to live here. It's something being imposed on us, and we do not consider ourselves Israeli, but we preserve our Palestinian Arab national identity. So as a result, their civic engagement tend to focus more on strengthening identity, belonging, and community rather than the concept of citizenship itself. As another interview said, actually we want to build our identity, defend our identity. And after that, we maybe start to talk about the citizenship as a justice value. So, from all of these findings, some initial conclusion and tensions have emerged. So, it can be argued that these youth movements are indeed creating a counter-hegemonic space, one that allows Palestinian youth to reflect on their identity, their sense of belonging to the community, cities, tradition, and culture. Through these, they are actively reclaiming and reshaping a national narrative for the Palestinian community, and in doing so, reclaiming their collective voice. So these perspectives highlight the transformative potential of youth movement, their ability to challenge society norms and inspire meaningful change. At the same time, it brings to light some key tension, such as being formally recognized as citizens of a country that continued to deny their full participation, dignity, and visibility. Another deep tension is the contradiction between what is thought or promoted by the state and the lived reality of Palestinian citizens. So a gap that young people express daily and which these movements are working to expose and to address. Um, Thank you very much for your attention. These were my initial finding of my research. If you have any question, doubt, concern, or even curiosity, please feel free to reach out to me. My email lamia.yasin@phd.unipd.it, and I will be very much happy to reply and to get in contact with every one of you. So I wish to you a very fruitful conference and waiting for your questions or information. Have a nice day. Bye.